Have you ever been so broke on the inside that you just start crying in the midst of doing a tiny everyday thing? All you want to do is stop whatever you're doing and go back, lie on your bed inside your blanket. And then, in public spaces, when you've just lost it, and then when someone looks at you, you avoid looking back at them because you know that if you look at them, you'll lose it. You know it's rather easy to stay put and act like everything's normal. Trust me when I say I've been there, I've really been there. There have been many instances where I just lost it. Like the day when my mom was playing a song about healing, and while singing along to it, I broke into tears. My mom had to call me and give me a long, tight hug before I became normal. We sat for hours and discussed about how stressed I was feeling, juggling between so many things all at once. Even without solid solutions at the end of our talks, just venting out, just telling her how I felt, lifted weights off my shoulders and made me feel a lot more relaxed. And then I realized the mistake was to hold it all on the inside. And another day, when I saw my friend talking to one of his close friends, the insides of me ached. Not because I was jealous, but because of the void filled with voices inside my head. It struck me that it's not about not having anyone, but rather about having so many people around and yet realizing no one understands you as much. And yet, amidst all of this we're going through, we still want to help others. We want to be there for them, give them that one long, tight hug they've been yearning for. We deeply desire to bring about change in the place we live. Hi, I'm Adithi, and I'm here to remind you that you are not alone. We might be on different boats, but we're still sailing on the same sea. We might be looking at the exact same things, just from different perspectives. I firmly believe that the future is in the hands of the present, and we are the driving force of the future. We hold in so much potential in us to change people's perspectives and therefore bring about a change. What do you think about when I say change? We think about the groundbreaking evolutions, the drastic changes to people's lifestyle. But what we forget to look at are the series of smaller processes that lead to the larger impact. Why else would have Prometheus said that big things have small beginnings? Let's talk about Newton. He thought about gravity. Don't worry, I'm not going to give you any physics lectures. It was a very basic thought, and no one really supported his theory. But the budding thought later blossomed into an evolution through practical and theoretical knowledge. And the entire world knows his work now. Is there anyone who would disagree if I said that my physics textbook has 3/4 of the portions just because of him? If only the apple didn't fall on his head. What I'm trying to say is that every other great invention of today had started off as small beginnings. People tend to look for shortcuts and easier methods to get their things done. But these perceptions only allow them to fall back and face failures as they put themselves into false delusions. The art of persistence and elements of steady improvement is what would be beneficial in the longer run. In the year 2022, I attended an internship with the Indian School of Leadership. It was a one-week program in Pune and had diversity in the air. People came from different socioeconomic backgrounds with a manifold of ideas to bring about and make the world a better place. ISL has conducted more than 3 to 4 labs and have promisingly developed the next generation of socially responsible youth leaders. NGOs work for the betterment of the people and the society without a permanent income. There are no expectations, just a vision for a brighter world. I went there to establish my own passion project. It was disheartening to see the young minds wrongly interpret saying I'm depressed as a new cool, a trend that people enjoyed, and the kind of attention that they liked getting. I wished to destigmatize these thoughts and help them truly understand the deep rooted aspects of mental health. Worthy Enough to Live was an initiative to build a safe community. I strongly believe that a bad exercise for an individual is to let the cycle repeat. Negative emotions seem to stick to us like superglues. Don't people tell that regardless of the innumerous good deeds we do, the world better remembers our one mistake? I mean, would you house a thief just because he said he's realized his mistakes and wants to lead a better life? Our brains are tricksters. Especially as we are teenagers, we tend to easily get distracted from what was important. The average attention span of teenagers spreads from a minimum of 28 to a maximum of 40 minutes. And amidst this, there's always a voice in our head that whispers all day long. Mental health is so overtalked, and yet there are so many of us struggling out there. Creating an Instagram handle was another step to success. Personally, I feel that journaling helps me vent out my emotions. And through my Instagram handle, I spoke to the world about different factors that put our mental health at risk. Most of us are oftentimes glued to our screens. In a survey, 32% of the teenagers said they spent more than 5 to 6 hours online. So I decided to speak up for us. I talk about different factors that put our mental health at risk. Overthinking, anxiety, family issues, societal pressure, teenage relationships, and suicide. I also discussed about different ways to overcome them. And one of the many ways were journaling. I can take a paper and pen and sit down to want to write about my emotions. But I figured out it was difficult. It was difficult for me to articulate the feelings into words. And then I decided to post daily prompts for journaling. My followers have taken up and returned with those prompts, and I'm happy and proud to tell you that people have come back to me, telling me that journaling had made a difference in the way they look at themselves. I'm also delightful, and it's a pleasure for me to share about the finest bloom of 2 other projects, predominantly led by the future generation of today. Silencing stigma is a step ahead to provide the woman a better periods. The word periods have been taboo to an extent that people started twitching their faces and blankly staring into open space at the mention of it. I was on my way back home in the school bus, and when the roads all became bumpy, one of my friends said, "You don't understand how much I wish I didn't have an uterus." Obviously, she was on her periods and experiencing pain. But the boys in the front row turned around only to look at her and laugh. Arya Mehta and Jia are the founders of an Instagram handle, and they have been socially interacting with the Instagram world. But, however, the number of followers to them didn't matter. What mattered was even if it was one person who validated their emotions and attempted to lead a better life, that was still a win. The girls have visited Aftertaste, another NGO that empowered women from low socioeconomic backgrounds. They introduced them to sanitary napkins, menstrual cycle, and mindfully spoke about so many other topics. Adding to that, they also visited grade 5 to 12 learners at Sakshatkara Foundation. Isn't it important for us to know what our body is doing for our well-being? The team has a marketing team with boys and girls and are open to volunteering. because they have been collaborating with so many other brands and new collaborations are pouring in. Silencing Stigma's zealous efforts have been proficiently shining lights into the darkest of thoughts. And another such project was Green Forest Inc. Apparently, our basic necessities, like pens, are made of plastic bodies, and this initiative was by the change makers of today. It's aspiring to see young school students, amidst their busy schedule, work to make the world a better place. The initiative was by an alumni of ISL wanting to replace plastic bodies and bring in environmentally friendly pens, home accessories, and so much more. These materials are made by the indigenous rural women of India who have been employed at an NGO called the ACT Paper Wings. Making these materials provide as a source of livelihood and empower them to contribute to the betterment of the society. Globally, only 9% of the waste produced is recycled, while 22% is mismanaged. In India, 46% of the waste produced is either uncollected litter or mismanaged. And 35% of the entire production is microplastics that lead a potential threat to the future. Sadhika and Samara are the founders of Green Forest Inc. After endless market research and surveys to understand the societal view on replacing plastics, they had come up with this idea. They started as a small group in their own communities and sold over 600 plus plastic replacements. And therefore, they went ahead to Sri Sai Ram School in Aravalli and have sold over 300 plus pens. These environmentally friendly paper-made pens reduce the plastic production by 2%. 2% might seem like a very small number, but globally, annually, 2% adds up to almost 3/4 of the entire world's landmass. Recently, they have also collaborated with SK's Children Foundation, Harmony House, Amba Foundation, and have taught about 150 children the basic pen prototypes. And along with them, they have also conducted drives and recycled over 35 kg of plastic. The world has survived a 4.5 million years and can survive a 4.5 billion more with a little bit of effort from us. Small beginnings are still efforts. The size does not matter. What matters is, are you consistent? Are you persistent? Are you really determined to make an impact in the place you live? Every other man who wishes to move a mountain starts by picking smaller stones. Let's all make a change in the place we live, big or small. Thank you.